These people that think it's okay. Good morning and welcome to Get Real America.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
Hey, welcome to Tuesday, and also welcome to more cold weather. Feels a little like winter out there.
Oh, it sure does.
50 degrees right now, mostly clear, kind of clear skies.
Yeah.
But it is, it feels like the season.
High of like 55, I think, today. So make sure you always have a coat in your car everywhere with you.
Yeah, 28th day of November. We're heading into the last month of the year.
Yes, and I got a little sidetracked yesterday, but yesterday was my mom's birthday, and today is my father's birthday. So happy birthday to both of them. They are having a great time out in Utah. They do, they have a razor, and so they go out and do like the trails and stuff. So that's what they're doing this week. But good for them.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yes,
I got a very good friend who works with the airlines, and who lives out in Salt Lake City now. And I keep getting these beautiful pictures from him and out on the golf course and things of that nature. I said, Joe, do you ever go to work? I mean, golly, geez, he's out skiing, he's golfing, he got these beautiful mountain pictures, and wow.
It is beautiful. If you've never been to Utah, you need to go check it out. And it has, it has a lot of, we have the Red Rock in southern Utah, and then we have just the beautiful mountains in northern Utah.
Apropos nothing, but one of my gifts from graduating from high school, Dad and I drove across the entire country, and driving in passing from Colorado into Utah, I expected to see John Wayne riding up from out of the desert there, because it looked just like many of the scenes in his movies, his Western movies. So it's and then what are those birch trees? They're so beautiful. Look like these white poles almost, and they're just the ones that.
Quakies.
Okay.
They're called Quakies. That's what
we
call
them.
them.
Oh, I've never heard of Quakies. I always thought maybe there was Earthquakies, but boy, they're gorgeous.
Yes, very beautiful country. So if you haven't been, you should definitely check it out. Mm-hmm. Today in Atlanta is the memorial services for President Carter's wife, Rosalind, and we have
lady.
Yeah, and we have a lot of people flying in for that. I believe Joe Biden will be here. Physically here, we don't know.
It's a dream come true. Yeah. He's not going to send an envoy or something like that. You know, he's actually coming himself.
Yes, I guess so.
Heart of gold.
Yeah, well, Jimmy Carter is definitely grateful for Joe Biden, because he has definitely made Jimmy Carter look like he was a lot better president. Joe Biden, one of the worst presidents in our history. So
I think probably the worst. He tops his former boss, the Dalai Lama. And do you notice that they had a Thanksgiving? Every president from George Washington on down has given a Thanksgiving message. And only 2 presidents in history have failed to mention God in those Thanksgiving messages. And guess who those 2 are?
Obama and Biden.
Bingo.
Wow. Recent history. I think that that's why we're seeing a lot of the problems that we're seeing in our country now, is because they've demonized believing in God. So, and Satan worshiping is like a thing.
Yeah. So you Democratans, think about this. You're anti-God, you're anti-Christian, because everything all you have to do is look at the record, as a morning joke would tell us, is that, look at Trump's record. He's going to kill people and arrest all of his enemies. Yeah, that didn't happen, Joe. That's the guy that's in the office now. So
accuse them of what you're doing, right?
Exactly.
And I mean, it's amazing that all of the media has fallen in line, and they are the enemy of the American people. People need to stop listening to them. They need to call them out. I mean, but we have got to stop being silent on all the lies that they're telling.
Yeah, silence isn't golden; it's yellow.
Yes.
There is I just began sending emails yesterday, and I will send them to the other news directors here as well. But I sent one to the Southeast News Leader, WTOC, the Big Red Digital High Definition 11, and asked them why they weren't at the Ladies on the Right luncheon with Stephen Friend, Savannah's own FBI whistleblower. Why wasn't that your lead? Not only why weren't you there, why wasn't it your lead story that night? Interested to see and ask if they would like to go on camera and explain that as well, since they're so excited about television investigations. And I'm interested to see what their reaction is going to be. But I want you to get involved as well. You need to start calling these stations. Why weren't you there? Why did you miss this story?
Well, I also think, Bill, when you go on some of these news sites, I mean, literally, um, all they are talking about is, the shootings that are happening in Savannah. I mean,
Yeah, Collar Brownsville right now is reeling. A pretty nice section of town, and for the black community, so to speak. And they've had what was it, 3 shootings
on
yesterday?
Monday, yep,
Or, yeah,
yesterday. So, um, but I mean, that is becoming,
the norm.
it is normal here.
Hmm.
It's unfortunate, but I mean, that's reality. And Bill, it's just really sad when you go through and look at the news and it feels like it's all copied and pasted from a Twitter account,
Hmm.
or there's no deep investigation. They're not looking into things. They're honestly kind of lazy, but
Yeah, they're not covering the news; they're covering up the news.
yeah. So, the other thing that we talked about yesterday was, of course, Derek Chauvin, him being stabbed in
Hmm.
prison, and the documentary that just came out, and just what a coincidence it was that happened to be within the first week of that documentary coming out that he was stabbed.
Hmm.
And Greg Gutfeld, which is one of your favorites,
Yeah,
he had a lot to say about this.
yeah. Greg Gutfeld, who does the Late Show now and wipes out all the other Late Show night so-called comedians combined, had this on Fox News last night. His take on the movie we showed you the trailer of yesterday, the fall of Minneapolis.
So let's talk about Derek Chauvin. You remember the Minneapolis cop convicted for killing George Floyd? Chauvin was just stabbed in federal prison, likely by some inmate wanting to gain street cred with his cell block or MSNBC. Now, I'm not easy to shock. You're talking to a guy, after all, who once saw Cavuto without makeup. But what an eerie coincidence that Chauvin gets stabbed just as a new documentary examines his arrest and prosecution comes out. And the documentary makes some amazing claims, and if they're accurate, could expose a pretty big lie. A lie that costs lives, including black ones, and billions of dollars in damages. And it's at the heart of the breakdown in law and order. And the reason why drugstore deodorant is locked up, but criminals are as free as a bag of Coke in the West Wing. So let's do a quick recap of the facts in case you were in a coma or you're Joe Scarborough. In 2020, George Floyd tried to pass counterfeit bills at a grocery store while full of enough drugs to make Charlie Sheen drool. Thanks to his erratic behavior and the fake money, the shopkeeper called the cops. That's it. Those are about all the facts the public got. After that, our view of the case was based only on the famous video where Chauvin has his knee on the back of Floyd's head. What we were told was that what Chauvin did in arresting Floyd was counter to all police procedure, that Floyd was nonviolent and hadn't resisted. And if you even thought otherwise, well, you're racist. But according to this documentary, all that seems questionable now. For instance, according to the film, Chauvin wasn't even the arresting officer. The officer who did make the arrest was black. According to the film, important body cam footage of Floyd violently resisting arrest was kept from the public for months. And Judge Peter Cahill kept much of the key body cam footage from ever being introduced at trial. Also, according to the documentary, the footage shows Floyd with at least one pill in his mouth, which he is shown swallowing to avoid being caught with it. Now, this is what body cams are for, evidence when facts are in dispute. What possible reason could there have been not to show that at trial? No clue. But this film raises that question. It also reports that this type of encounter had happened previously with Floyd, and he was rushed to the hospital for treatment from the swallowed pills. But also, that in Chauvin's case, the police called paramedics 30 seconds after Floyd was put on the ground, and that the medics went to the wrong location, and that caused the delay. The documentary also claims that what Chauvin did, the placing of his knee, was what he had been trained to do, saying the maneuver is right in the Minneapolis Police Department's training manual. In fact, the body cam footage even shows that Chauvin's knee was not on Floyd's neck, but on his shoulder. Then there's the autopsy. According to the Minneapolis coroner, Floyd had a dosage of fentanyl in him that the doctor described as at a fatal level. He also had meth in him. He also had a 75% blockage in one of his arteries, hypertensive heart disease, and also COVID. And so the coroner claimed Floyd died of pre-existing conditions, and there was, quote, no physical evidence that suggesting that Mr. Floyd died of asphyxiation. Now, documentaries are notoriously biased. One can convince you that there's global warming, and then another can reveal it as a fraud. It's because documentaries often don't present both sides. But maybe this one presents a side that went ignored. Still, you got to be careful, especially when it says something that you want to hear. And marshaling all this stuff together, it raises some serious questions, especially since early on, I suspected that the courtroom wasn't impervious to what was going on outside.
Did you hear what Mike Tobin said when he was interviewing some people when they said, hey, we're not going to loot tonight, we're going to celebrate?
Right,
so we were dealing with what we thought was a sense of extortion, that if this didn't go a certain way, I'm speaking the truth. If it didn't go a certain way, there was going to be destruction. We know that. Why pretend otherwise?
Right.
Come on.
That guy is so gorgeous. Not him, me. My point is, there was no way Chauvin wasn't going to be found guilty, not with the mob just waiting for a reason to riot. So was it justice served or was it extortion? I say watch the flick, decide for yourself. The media hates that after all. So while the leaders of BLM hang in a luxury compound that would make the Hamas leaders jealous, all 4 cops from the Floyd incident remain in prison. Expect no explanations from Minnesota Governor Tim Walz or Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey, who were cheerleading Chauvin's prosecution so loudly they should have had pom-poms to go with their skirts. Expect no comment from Minnesota AG Keith Ellison, who charged Chauvin with murder. Expect no explanation from the judge, who, according to the New York Post, later told an audience of his fellow judges that, quote, every case you deal with should be about racial justice. You know, instead of that boring, plain old regular justice that courts are supposed to provide for everyone, regardless of race, finances, or if your dad is president. Expect no examination of the matter from the legacy media, of course, who found in Chauvin and Floyd their entire wish list of progressive narratives. And expect nothing from our president, who said during the trial that he was praying for a conviction and who calls America's law enforcement absolutely systemically racist. Look, do I know that everything in this documentary is accurate? Hell no. All documentaries come with a point of view. But the people who cheered loudest for the Chauvin prosecution are the same ones who've been lying to us about everything else. So it makes me wonder, why did we believe them then, and why should we believe them now?
Excellent point.
Yep.
Greg mixes a little humor with, but you know, they say some of the most truth is spoken through false teeth. And it is just amazing that we have a media that is so clueless and so biased. And that's why Trump keeps calling them out and saying how dangerous they are. When you can't trust the free press. Did you see a single story asking what happened to all those people that they cleaned up in when they cleaned up San Francisco and got rid of all those people when Xi Jinping showed up? There wasn't a single story. You would think that they would say, oh, and where did these people go? Did they put them up in 5-star hotels?
I don't know, but they were back pretty quickly after he left. So they didn't go far, wherever they went.
Yeah.
But I think the other thing is the media, they blatantly lie and they peddle a narrative. So they're not even doing journalism. They're doing the bidding of the Democrat Party at this point. They
fabricate stories.
Mm-hmm.
And that is one of the worst parts. And they get Pulitzer Prizes for it.
Well, but now what does that mean anymore? Like, I don't think anyone thinks that that's anything to write home about anymore because they've destroyed it.
Yeah,
like they've destroyed everything.
It's just like when they gave the Nobel Peace Prize to Yasser, that's my baby Arafat. I was like, yeah, okay, you've just blown your cover. All right, coming up next.
Well, hopefully you have seen the video, but if you haven't, a shocking video coming out of New York against a Jewish teacher for supporting Israel.
This is unbelievable in America. Foxy Loxy, Coffee Fox, and Henny Penny, making life better for Savannahans with their kolaches, tacos, coffees. They're just amazing. Buy local and keep the torch lit.
There's nothing like being together at the holidays. Publix, where shopping is.
Welcome back to Get Real America.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
Happy Tuesday.
Yes. Gosh, the week's flying by already.
Yeah,
And
where does the time go? Huh?
Yeah, I was going to say December is right upon
Well,
us.
not
So
down in history, that's for sure.
yes.
All right.
Well, Bill, it's amazing to me that we're seeing, number one, children behave in the way that they are.
Mhm.
I think on college campuses as well as on high school campuses. And this teacher that is Jewish in New York had posted on her Facebook support for Israel.
And she was also at a rally at the rally
Mhm.
for Israel that really was a mostly peaceful demonstration, a real peaceful demonstration. Maybe they ought to send footage of that to the Communist News Network and see it in BSNBC and see exactly what a peaceful demonstration looks like, because they don't seem to understand what it is.
Yeah, well, definitely these people that went into this building, the school, the teacher was locked in there for a couple of hours, and they destroyed this place.
It's unbelievable.
And if my sister's fading a bitch, I'ma line it up with whoever came with the bitch. Line it up, 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 line it up. Bitch, knock it off. You been got stripped. Took the bitch phone and her bucket got flipped. Her mother was pulling up, so they all pulled off. And don't square up with me, cause you know I'm letting off. Yeah, I ain't turning shit down in here. Any bitch can run it like it's.
Where are the resource officers? Where is the police?
Well, and of course, their first thought is that I need to film this. That's the other thing. This comes from an
Mhm.
account of one of the kids that was involved. And again, these people are under the age of 18. Probably some of them are over the age of 18. But like, since when do people not respect? Like, there's just no respect from these younger generations. I mean, this mob mentality is going to be very, very dangerous.
Now, how did all these kids get together? How did they all show up at this school at the same time? Where did they come from?
Great question.
The FBI can go in and the NSA and all can go in and look at all these emails and
I
and
bet you it was
tweets.
social media. And here's the thing, Bill. I don't know if you remember Parler, but
Uh-huh.
they were accused of being where the insurrection was planned.
Uh-huh.
So they were shut down.
Mhm.
It ruined their business.
Yeah.
They've tried coming back, but I don't think that they're going to make it. But you know,
Like us.
yeah, yeah,
That's another story.
yeah. But I mean, they have a way to figure out how this stuff is happening. But I mean, this could be planned by our government. Like, you don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't
because-
trust the government. I don't trust the FBI. I don't.
Because all these because there was another group of kids that went in a Nike store,
Mhm.
and I'm glad it was Nike because they deserved it. I'm kind of being a little facetious, but I despise Nike for paying Kellen Culpepper millions of dollars to be anti-American and to give him a platform and make him a little whiny ass. So I'm not a fan of Nike. It just disgusts me to see the University of Georgia wearing these Nike jersey. Got the little swoosh on there. So I wish they would go to Adidas or somebody like that and
Or
get
there's a lot of
uniforms from them.
American companies now that
Yeah.
are like they're smaller, but
Yeah,
could
go,
customize these and
Nine
probably
Line.
yeah.
Yeah, Nine
There's
Line
not a
Apparel
lot of
here.
them. Yeah.
And my beloved Ole Miss has got,
Mhm.
they have Nike too. In fact, they were calling me for money recently. And I said, when I see Colonel Rebel again, I'll send you some dough. That has never gotten a response. But they said
Weird.
we're going to send you this, this, and this because I was getting one of those alumni books so you could contact your old buddies. And they said, and we'll send you a Nike shirt. I said, you're not going to send me a Nike shirt. And the woman on the phone was actually surprised. She said, "Why not?" I said, "Do you remember who Nike stood for? Do you remember who all the millions that they're still paying this cretin all this money, and he's still out there whining. He's trying to come back. I think there was one of the teams was trying to put him back on their roster, or at least give him another tryout. And the fans were like, I don't think
No.
so.
No, he's a grifter.
Yeah.
He's been a grifter for a long time.
Mm-hmm. But he's making millions and millions of dollars hating America.
Yeah.
And Nike's paying him.
Well, not only that, Nike, a lot of their factories are in China, and they pay for
Slave labor.
It's weird how that works out, isn't it?
But
the people that complain about slavery in this country are the ones buying it, which is just
yeah. But they go in and they said, I thought they said like they stole like $12,000 worth of Nike stuff. But where do they? If the FBI could do something decent for a change, if they could be the agency that CBS tries to tell us every Tuesday night that the FBI is, because they got 3 FBI shows on Tuesday nights saying what a great organization it is, and how they're fighting crime. They always manage to work in white supremacists somewhere, but they for the most part of it, they're very entertaining and fiction. But if they could say, okay, we see this mob that's forming here, can we send some cops there? Can call the local police? Why should these corporations have to keep putting up with this? Because you and I pay for this when the Nike products go up. And I keep telling my kids to quit buying the grandkids Nike stuff, and I'm sometimes shut down on that.
Yeah. Until we start standing up, though, nothing will ever change. We are seeing Disney taking big hits still, which I'm very excited about. They're not doing well, but
Jonathan Turley has a great op-ed, I think, in the Washington Compost today. Okay. About Adam. It's the 300th anniversary of Adam Smith, who wrote Wealth of Nations, and he said that stood up pretty well. He said he's done pretty well for 300 years, and talk about the capitalistic economies and how capitalism has improved society overall. And Jonathan Turley has this great editorial today, an op-ed today, saying that criticizing Disney. And saying, Adam Smith, slapping Disney in the face. And he was asked on Fox and Friends this morning what he meant by that. And he said, because Disney because they've turned into this wokeism, they're continuing to make these films. And now the stockholders are beginning to fuss, because they've already lost something like $100 million on films that are people aren't going to see. They're not going along with their lifestyle that Disney has been in the so-called woke culture, and they're losing hundreds of millions of dollars. And finally, the stockholders are saying, "Just a second here," and then they're going back, of course, and trying to correct some of their films of the past to bring them up to date. So this is something that read Jonathan Turley's op-ed today. It is really good.
I'll have to take a look at that. Vicki Bradley's with us this morning, and she said her son is a freshman at the University of Georgia, and he sent us a video of a pro-Hamas rally at UGA. He said it was awful what they were saying. Yeah, I
Quit sending your kids to college.
You wonder who raises these children, though. It's like,
and
if we ever participated in that and my parents had found out, I mean, we would be out of college so quickly and back home as quick as you could snap your fingers. So
Well, that
Man.
happens. This is something that I think one of the greatest public speakers of all time, and a great American was Dr. Kenneth McFarland. He was the dean of American public speakers in the 60s, 50s, and 60s, and into the 70s and early 80s. And if you listen to any of his speeches, all you have to do is take out the names of the people then and put some of today's speakers in. You'd think he'd made the speech yesterday. He was railing about this. And he was from Kansas, lived in Topeka. He was a superintendent of public schools in Topeka back when they taught stuff, and useful stuff that can make you get along in the world after you got out of high school and college. And he was talking about how bad it was getting at the University of Kansas. These kids would go off there, and even though they'd been raised by wonderful parents and with great American values, these professors took over and started indoctrinating them
Mm-hmm.
and brainwashing these kids to the point where they turned on their parents.
Yep, that's what happens. We've seen that happening for decades now,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, Steve Bannon, he is 70. His birthday was yesterday.
Was he?
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
So
happy
he's
birthday.
70 years old. To see Steve Bannon, and
It ain't fatal.
yeah, and he's with he was interviewed by Tucker Carlson,
Mm-hmm.
and they were talking about what's going to happen in this country after you see what happened in Ireland over the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
If a government makes it a crime to criticize that government's policies, then it's not by definition a free country, is it?
I think you're absolutely correct, and I think you're seeing that here in the United States. I mean, as you know, I mean, you're hounded all the time. If you have a different opinion from the state, right, they're trying to criminalize that, and they're doing that, trying to do that every day here in the United States. It's one of the reasons that if they can't criminalize it to actually use the courts and the police state like the FBI to come after you, they'll basically partner with big tech to either deplatform you or to other you. We're seeing this here in the United States. And this is just about the situation of the problem. Think about the solution. I keep telling people, hey, think downrange to 2025. If we're able to win and closing that win, think of the issues we have to deal with, not just in the budget, but with the deportations. I mean, we have 9 million or 8 or 9 million here today just on Biden's watch. Center for Immigration Studies says we're going to have another 6 million by the time we get to the election next year. That's 14 or 15 million. I think illegal alien invaders are coming because they've gamed the asylum system. My belief is those people have to go home. They have to be returned. They have to leave our country, or we're not going to have a country. You're going to see hate speech law. You're going to see, I mean, even the discussion about this over the last couple of weeks with the people at Project 2025 and Stephen Miller and others have all of a sudden got the media saying, oh, we're setting up concentration camps. This is going to be worse than the Japanese in World War II, all of that. And that's just even mentioning the concept of it. So the issue of how it happened, and it's happening every day in the country, is bad enough. And if you stand up to it, you know, you're called a nativist, a xenophobe, a racist, you know, a domestic terrorist, a violent extremist. But if you even start to bring up what's going to happen for a solution, like in Midtown Manhattan, where you have to empty out the Roosevelt Hotel and those folks have to go home, it's going to get 10 times worse. And so I hope people that watch your show appreciate the fact, particularly maybe people that are not that political, that we're going to have, and not just turbulence, we're going to have a firestorm in this country that is going to pale in comparison, I think, to what you saw in Ireland last week.
Well,
Kind of scary to think about.
Well, if you didn't know what happened in Ireland last week, they decided that for the greater good, we need to shut down hate speech. You define hate speech.
No, well, what happened is that someone stabbed 3 children that was an illegal immigrant there, and that's what the problem was.
Mm-hmm.
3 children were stabbed, and people are like, enough, we are done. I believe one of the children has been released from the hospital. I mean, you can't have these people coming into your country and not want to be, in our case, we want them to be American. I don't think that it's good for them to continue to come into the country and not assimilate here.
The first thing if they're going to bring these illegal aliens in, we need to put them in a big auditorium and start showing them some of these PragerU videos that we show you all the time, and explain to them about America, and also the best ones besides PragerU come from Hillsdale College.
Yeah, well, and Vicki Bradley says, my third child is in college. I promise indoctrination is happening in colleges. We see it firsthand. It was bad at Georgia Southern, seeing a lot of Georgia there. Seemed to be less indoctrination at Mercer, but it was there. Steve Statton says, I don't think it's a matter of who raised them, but who is paying them. And Lizzie Warren says, we are supposed to honor the culture of the illegals while disavowing American culture. And that's the problem. You hear all of the stories of the immigrants that came over, and they would not teach their kids their language. They're like, you will learn English. We are Americans. We want to be Americans. They changed their name. They Americanized themselves because they were proud to be here, and they were just grateful.
Exactly.
And we are not seeing that now at all.
No. They're trying to destroy our culture. They're trying to destroy America and the American dream. And they're doing a damn good job of it. All right, coming back, by the way, really apropos nothing, but I have a Georgia Southern story to tell you that goes along with this right after the break.
Okay, we'll be right back.
Serving the Savannah area with the power of the Shield since 1934, with personal insurance, employee benefits, and business insurance. With integrity, security, and trust. For more information, go to thepoweroftheshield.com.
Salut papa. Joyeux Noël.
Foxy Loxy, Coffee Fox, and Henny Penny, making life better for Savannahans with their kolaches, tacos, coffees. They're just amazing. Buy local and keep the torch lit.
Welcome back to Get Real America.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
Back years and years ago, I had the honor of doing the Irk Russell Show, Georgia Southern College's football show, for the 9 years that he was the head coach there, winning 3 national championships. And working with a guy like Irk Russell was like opening a box of Cracker Jacks every day. You just didn't know what the prize was going to be inside. This man took psychology out of the classroom and put it on the sidelines. He took a bunch of ragtag kids that nobody else wanted, and within 5 years won a national championship. And it was an amazing thing, and to be excited about that and how excited all the fans were in rebuilding their football team that had been dormant for 40 years was just amazing. And it was just one of the honors of my broadcast career to be a part of that. But Georgia Southern forgets their friends. The people like me and all of our crew were never, I don't think, were given not just me, but my crew that had to put all this together, because we had to, get this re-edited and turned around, even sometimes when we were on the road, hundreds of miles away. and get it on for 11 o'clock the next night for the coaches show. And it was sometimes very hectic. If you remember, there was a scene in the movie called Broadcast News or something where the producers running down the hall with the tape, 16 seconds before airtime and throwing it into the machine. And of course, the public's not the wiser. We were doing that. We were rewinding the tape in the 11 o'clock break on Sunday night before it aired. But we always got it on, always did, and we won. We should have won some awards for it, but we didn't. Nevertheless, I digress. But the first time Georgia Southern actually put in a bid to have the national championship at Paulson Stadium in Statesboro, and Georgia Southern made it to and they put up we had this big poster that had an antebellum mansion in the background and two football players phantom in the front, and line, like the scrimmage line with the helmet to helmet, and it said the drive to Dixie was the poster. This had to be approved by the NCAA, which governs college football, and it was approved. The guy who approved it was black. So there was no problem there, except an art professor at Georgia Southern started complaining that it was racist. Antebellum mansion, that meant slavery. Dixie, that meant slavery. And there was this big whoop-de-doo about it.
We don't have, okay, I'm going to say something that's not very nice, but until we get rid of child slavery in this country and the sex trafficking that's going on with children, I don't want to hear a damn thing about slavery.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and by the way, poster sales skyrocketed.
Of course, that's the way it works. Well, I think one of our favorites, of course, on the Republican side is Ronald Reagan.
Yeah.
And I was shocked to hear our education secretary quote him this week. So let's look at Reagan, and then let's look at what the education secretary had to talk about.
Yeah.
The 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, "I'm from the government and I'm here to help."
We're going to set up follow-up calls with every governor we met with to make sure we're available. As I think it was President Reagan said, we're from the government. We're here to help. There are resources there, there's technical assistance there, and there's a playbook that could support the work you're doing. Count on us as a partner in this. Our students are waiting. Thank you.
He's over the education department, and he definitely misquoted Reagan.
Yeah. Leaving it's like the part where they just pick out the little piece that they want to. You hear some people say it's in the Bible. They will take. They love to do this cafeteria thing where they'll take a phrase out of Habakkuk and they'll take one out of James, and then they'll put them together. It's in the Bible. Well, yeah, it's in the Bible. That's not what it says, but that's not what it means, and you've taken it out of context. But this is what he didn't. He failed to mention the part that said those are the most terrifying 9 words in the English language.
Yes, and we should all be scared that this person is
our education secretary.
Yes, and we also see how education's going. So there you go. Lizzie Warren says Dixie connotes regional pride and cherry picking at its finest. Definitely. And we always see this from the Democrats. It's quite amazing, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Great to be a Democrat. Remember, you can't spell Democrat without R-A-T.
Yeah, well, and Bill, I don't know if you have seen a lot of the stuff happening, but Disney over the weekend had someone that decided that they were going to strip down in the It's a Small World ride, which I don't know if anyone's been on that ride. I have not.
Because when you come out, you can't get that song out of your head.
And it seems like it always breaks down. Well, it seems like it always breaks down or goes slow or something in that specific ride. So where you're driven crazy. But I don't know why we continue to give money to Disney, because it attracts pedophiles, and it also, the people that are working there. Probably, I think that they have 2 or 3 people arrested there every year that are practicing pedophilia in some way, shape, or form. And it draws pedophiles there as customers because that's where the children are. And Disney has decided to go full woke. Their latest superhero movie, they decided to go all-female cast, and it definitely flopped at the box office.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and as we said, finally the stockholders are beginning to say no more. Okay, we invested in this to make money, not to lose money. And have you seen the price to get into Disney these days?
I have not.
Yeah, it's rather frightening.
Well, hopefully that makes it so more people are not going.
Mm-hmm.
Mary McCann Hybrider said that streaker had to be on drugs.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
a lot of these people have to be in order to do some of the disgusting things that they do. And I don't understand the pedophilia attraction. A girl that I used to work with saw on her Facebook, she was like, I'm so excited to get this flag. I've been, it's been sold out. So she orders this flag and it has the circle on it, which stands for minor attracted persons, which is a pedophile.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand why we're supporting this stuff. It blows my mind. You have California trying to make it so, there's a 10-year difference. It doesn't matter. You can sleep with whoever you want. But if that's the case, then an 18-year-old can sleep with an 8-year-old.
Yeah, right.
What are we doing here?
Well, and of course, we're talking about California to a degree. Did you see the latest from Gavin Newsom, the guy who pardoned from prison? A man who had been sentenced to like 106 years has served about 7 or 8 because he randomly shot into a car, and one of the bullets hit a girl in the back, and she's been paralyzed for life in a wheelchair. And Newsom has actually pardoned this guy and put him on a prison reform committee.
Let's pardon someone and give him a job in the government.
You can't make this stuff up.
Yeah, well, and Gavin Newsom and I believe Ron DeSantis are scheduled to debate.
I think it's tomorrow or day after tomorrow. It's this week anyway.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. There's a lot of talk about it, but no specifics given out. It's very weird. But I do think we need to talk more about California because I do think that they're going to try and sneak Gavin Newsom in there for president. I think that they were hoping to rely on the Republicans to impeach Joe Biden, and they didn't really take the bait, Bill. So I think that they're gonna have problems getting rid of him. Lizzie Warren says crime pays in California. Apparently it does.
Sure does.
Nice government salary, I'm sure.
To pay everywhere.
Yeah. And Mary McCann Hybrider says the moral degradation of our society, they are trying to normalize this behavior. They absolutely are.
Mm-hmm.
Do not leave your children with anyone.
Yeah,
I mean, honestly.
And Hollywood's been trying this for years, of trying to normalize their lifestyle. Even going back, to Roman Polanski 40 years ago, who was accused of pedophilia and then ran off to France in order to get away from the cops here.
Well, I think you can also see that in the way that when people go into Hollywood, they end up getting famous, and then all of a sudden they drop off the map. It's probably because they see what happens behind closed doors, and they're like, I want no part of this.
Yeah, one of the great young child actors, I wish I'd been able to set up an interview with him. We never did get together, but Paul Peterson, who played as a child actor, was in a very famous television series, The Donna Reed Show, as a kid. And he has since published and talked about how kids are exploited in Hollywood, either by the pedophiles, and then once they get to be a certain age, most child actors don't go on in their careers to bigger roles. There are a few exceptions, Ricky Schroeder being one, among others. But other than that, there are very few who make it from childhood on up.
Well, that's the thing. You look at some of these child actors that do try to break into adult careers, like Macaulay Culkin. He ended up on drugs.
Yeah,
one of the best child actors out there.
His father was a nutcase. His parents were just awful.
Well, but you also look at Amanda Bynes. I don't know if you know who that is, but she was a Nickelodeon star. She's crazy. Lindsay Lohan. I mean, look at all of these girls. Definitely something is not going well in Hollywood, but
But they went after Lindsay Lohan. I mean, she spent something like 45 or 50 or 45 minutes to an hour in prison once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when we get back, we'll be talking about someone that is making movies not in Hollywood and why you should support them.
Indeed. Stay real.
When you're looking to buy a business or sell a business, the experts at Best Business Brokers have you covered. Whether you're ready to cash in on your years of hard work or you're taking that first step in buying a business of your own, they're here to guide you through the process and make sure you get the best outcome possible. By having Best Business Brokers assist you when you buy a business or sell a business, they handle the legwork of the intricate process. This ensures a smooth transition of ownership, allowing you to get to work immediately or receive payment for your business as soon as possible. With base operations in Savannah and Charleston, they service all of Georgia and South Carolina. If you're considering starting a business here, the mild winters and 5-tiered economic areas make these the perfect places to do so. If you're ready to buy a business or sell a business, then you're ready to contact Best Business Brokers. Visit their website at b3brokers.com or call at 912-349-0940.
Foxy Loxy, Coffee Fox, and Henny Penny, making life better for Savannahans with their kolaches, tacos, coffees. They're just amazing. Buy local and keep the torch lit.
Welcome back to Get Real America.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
Glad to have you aboard this morning. And Merry Christmas. We'll
Yes.
say it here.
Yes, I know that you hate when people say Happy Holidays.
Well, I originally I didn't hate it because it became the substitute for Merry Christmas. We've said Happy Holidays for decades. Records have been made of it. All sorts of music, Happy Holidays type thing. But when it became a substitute for Christmas and saying you can't say Christmas anymore, that's when I get ticked off about it.
I always say Merry Christmas when I'm at a store.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they say Happy Holidays. I'm like, Merry Christmas. Because actually, we shouldn't say holidays, technically, because we don't have any more holidays until New Year's and Christmas. So
yeah, but once again, the schools will be their school calendar has winter break. It used to be Christmas break.
yes.
If it weren't for Christmas, there wouldn't be any holidays in the first place. Thank you very much.
Yes. So make sure you say Merry Christmas to people.
Mm-hmm.
Makes
For
them
sure.
happy.
Absolutely.
Makes Bill happy. The other thing, so the Daily Wire, there's been a lot of conflict within the Daily Wire between Candace Owens and Ben Shapiro. They've been in the news quite a bit. But yesterday, they released their trailer for their comedy movie called Lady Balls, which is hilarious because it is making fun of the people that think we should allow men in women's sports.
Mm-hmm.
And let's take a look at that.
In a world where women's sports is being transformed, the Daily Wire calls foul with the most triggering comedy of the year.
Guys, this is serious. Sports can be your pathway to a better life.
Well, like yours?
Please don't steal my catalytic converter again. Winning matters. It's the key ingredient in becoming a winner.
Maybe you should try it sometime. Are you gonna move?
I am not.
Let's cut to the chase. I know you're not a woman.
Hey, you don't know how he identifies.
If you can beat them,
What do you know about the U.S. Opens for the Global Games?
You want us to compete as women. $5,000 prizes.
My lover says you were a great coach back in the day.
join them.
This is the way the world is now. My 8-year-old daughter told me all about it. So a guy can become a girl with no physical changes at all.
Oh, that's called gender fluid.
So I can be a woman on the court and a man in the bedroom. I can't believe it. Nice!
You mean when you're sleeping?
Yes.
Coach,
Alex,
we could play basketball. We have to get the whole team back together.
It's time
we're in. I'm in.
I'm in.
to play
Lady Balders. Man up.
like a girl.
That's right. I'm with her. I'm in my truth. This is my truth.
From heroes
Day one of being a girl athlete. I love being a girl.
to sheroes.
We could dominate every woman's sport. Running, swimming, soccer. I said sport, Felix. It's ladies basketball, boys. Nobody watches. Excuse me. Are these seats open? Never mind.
Getting dunks. And tucking trunks.
No, she didn't. That's the biggest I've ever seen on a lady.
I don't care.
Lady Ballers.
One can even be trans age now, which provides Sheelix with a wonderful opportunity to relive all the experiences that she missed out on in school.
Streaming exclusively on Daily Wire Plus December 1st.
Should be a fun movie.
Gotta laugh to keep from crying.
Well, the fact that this could be a reality, the fact that an all trans team could take on a women's team and just destroy them, that's a reality we're definitely facing in this country because we've decided not to protect women's sports.
Yeah. What was all this about the Title IX that they fought for? Billie Jean King has finally come back from the dead to say something about that. Martina Navratilova has been one of the few that's been out there, twisting in the wind, complaining about this. Finally, Billie Jean King has finally spoken up on the issue of saying that this is ridiculous and how it's destroying women's sports. Thanks, Billie. Welcome to the party.
Well, not only that, I think the amount of women getting injured. I mean, I saw the UFC fight between a real woman and the trans.
Right.
He destroyed her.
Yeah.
I mean, her face was just, it was mangled. We are just not the same. I don't care how much you want us to be the same. We just are not. Lizzie Warren says, I played second base on a co-ed team and that ball whistled going by my head.
Mm-hmm.
No thanks.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the thing. It's unbelievable that people think that this is okay and that we should allow this to happen because it's amazing how many of these male swimmers that have appeared that competed in swimming on the male teams, and then all of a sudden they're the best athletes when they switch to the female teams.
Well, and then at the same time, there was one. It's in the bicycle races. Mm-hmm. These guys have gone. They've been coming in 65th in where they were competing in one, and so they started competing in the women's and winning thousands of dollars in that sport. And
ridiculous.
And the media is complicit with this.
But here's the other thing, Bill. Women's sports also don't get the same kind of money. So when you are taking that opportunity away from women, it takes everything from them. Their ability to compete, their ability to make money, and you have a man that should not be there.
Well, the girl, and of course, the girls not getting scholarships.
Yep.
Now, and the thing is that they, and I was always complaining about the women complaining about not making the same amount of money. So you're not playing the same amount of games, like in tennis, for example, said we deserve the same amount of money that the guys get.
But if you can't fill the stands,
right?
It's ticket sales. If you can sell those tickets, great. But you're not selling those tickets. It was funny when he walked into the arena in the movie preview, and he's like, "This is women's sports. No one comes to this."
Right? Yeah, and it's in tennis. Well, going back to that, the girls play 2 sets. The guys have to play 3 sets. Okay, you want the same amount of money? Play 3 sets.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And be just as good.
Yeah.
And Vicki Bradley's with us, and she says, where are the feminists? Why aren't they supporting women and women's sports?
Yeah, where's Code Stink? Where are all the other?
The women's movement has
yeah.
transitioned into the trans movement.
Yeah, the National Organization of Whack Jobs. Where are you?
Mm-hmm.
You're silent as the Sphinx.
Yes, and Steve Stanton is also with us this morning, and he says, Ben's wrong. Our borders are more important than any other country. He's gone after Tucker. He will lose. Yeah, Ben's created a lot of controversy since October 7th, which is when the horrible attack on Israel happened. I think that populists in our country are having a really hard time spending the money on Israel's borders when we are not spending the money here. Ours. And we're seeing the influx, the invasion coming over. I saw another trainload of people that are coming into the country. It's
and for the what was it, the 18 Republicans who stabbed us in the back and wouldn't impeach Mayorkas. A pox on both your houses.
I don't know how these Republicans keep getting elected, and that's what gives Republicans a bad name. Is when we have Republicans that behave like Democrats. It dilutes the brand, and it doesn't give us any options, Bill. So I'm hoping that we can.
One of the excuses was we don't have enough evidence. But that sounds like the Democrats are saying there's zero evidence that Joe Biden's done anything wrong.
There is so much footage from the border. I don't understand. No evidence. I wonder how many of those 18 have actually been to the border. That would be my other question. So a lot of them were unknown people, like no one I'd ever really heard of.
Well, if you remember, the Republicans invited Democrats to come along with them to go on one of these border soirees, and they refused to go.
Right, but there was 18 Republicans that chose to vote against the impeachment of Mayorkas, which should have been easy, but
and how are things going with the border czar?
Oh, you know what she's worried about? She's worried about gas stoves and abortion. Those are her two big issues. So,
except there was a picture that came out just recently showing her hugging the second gentleman, her husband,
in front of a
gas stove.
So weird. A lot of controversy over that as well.
Rules for thee and not for me.
We all know they're a bunch of hypocrites. Let's just be honest, Bill. We all know. And that's the thing that's so frustrating is like a lot of the stuff that's breaking news right now. It's really hard for me to want to talk about it because I'm like, we knew about this 3 years ago. This is not news. It's just the fact that you guys can't hide it anymore, and so you have to report on it. It's absolutely crazy.
A couple of weeks ago, when we talked to you about Stephen Friend being here, we talked about his book True Blue, and that I think it's becoming a national bestseller. There is one that's just come out. I hope is going to be a national bestseller too. Don't look for this guy to appear on the Today Show or BSDNC or any of the others. Good Morning America, but he's going to be here tomorrow. His name is Bubba Hope. He is an attorney from Savannah. He has written a book that's just come out. I hope is going to be a bestseller. We're going to be talking about this more tomorrow, but it's called Mob Island. And it's about the Teamsters and organized crime being right here in Savannah on Wilmington Island when they took over the General Oglethorpe Hotel and the old Oglethorpe Golf Club and changed it to the Savannah Inn and Country Club. And they couldn't make much of a go of it. And as my mom used to say, if the mafia can't make this thing run, nobody can. But it is about the mafia connections here, or the mob connection. I'm sorry, the mafia doesn't exist. The Mothers and Fathers Italian Association. And if you make jokes about it, it could get angry. But there was the mob here, and Bubba Hope was representing was an attorney who helped represent them. Spent some time in prison for himself, but he's going to be with us tomorrow, and talk about his book and other things he reveals. And it is a great read, especially considering a plane crash here some years back that took the life of a very prominent citizen that turns out was a mob hit.
Interesting, Bill.
You need to read the book, find out about it.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear his interview.
We need your help as well. Even the mob can send us some money if you want to.
Yes.
Yeah, we wouldn't mind at all.
Not at all. So we need you guys to become members. We need you to donate. If you know someone with business, you have a business, make sure to advertise with us.
I have asked you to start calling the television stations and ask them why they're not covering certain things like Stephen Friend's address. And you need to, and ask to speak to an assignment editor. Be polite, be nice, but just be firm. And when you go in businesses, say, talk about us and say, why aren't you, you ought to be advertising with these people. And because our rates are a lot lower than the corporate-owned stations that refuse to cover people like Stephen Friend. And you want a conservative, independent, locally owned news operation, here we are. But we need your help.
So make sure to go to thelocalspin.com.
Mm-hmm.
You can donate. You can advertise with us. You can also become a member.
Mm-hmm. Sure can. And we'll keep your name silent in case you're worried about the FBI showing up with a SWAT team.
Yeah, after that after the interview with Stephen Friend.
Yeah.
Kind of get a little nervous about that, don't you, Bill?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we appreciate you guys tuning in. We will be back tomorrow.
Sure will.
So hope you guys have a good day.
Take care. God bless.